Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, I want to talk about something really exciting, and that is the new bosses that we're gonna have for this season, okay? I think the first person that had a video on this one was Toby, a fellow content creator and moderator. And basically he had access to the test server, and it kind of showed us what we will have as the bosses for this new event that should start in about, let's see, 9 days. So if you started on the first day of season 2, then the Lunar Halo Radiance event is gonna happen in about 9 days. And during that one, we're gonna be able to get an exclusive hero, Arre. And honestly, she seems to be pretty amazing and definitely a lot better than we had last season with Uteor, okay? So what Arre does is she brings defense in all battles by 30, which is amazing. She brings an awesome passive that keeps giving herself the blessing every 5 seconds that stacks up her defense and resistance, and once that hits 10 stacks, which is going to be after 50 seconds, she's going to give that 30% defense and 100 resistance to all the team. So that makes it to be pretty interesting, first of all. Then on the battle skill, she heals the ally with the lowest HP by a percentage of her defense and grants them defense up. When this skill is cast on a target below 50% HP, healing will be increased by 30% and reduces the recharge time for the target's next battle skill by 50%. So that's a pretty quirky battle skill. But then the ultimate is where it's at. She enhances herself. This one goes on a 16-second cooldown for 10 seconds, and then increases all the healing of all allies received by 50%, okay? And it also increases her basic attack that does more damage based on defense again, but also when enhanced, each one of her basic attacks grants the ally with the lowest HP 180% defense, and also has a 100% chance of dispelling one debuff from them. What this means is she could be amazing for Vortex, okay? Because she straight up, if you're gonna give her a decent enough attack speed, she's gonna straight up heal, the lowest HPs and keep dispelling down, which means she can be the one that cleanses the defense penalty. So Arre 100% looks like she's gonna be one of the ones that we want to go for. If you want to see a bit about the details, I think you can go over here to upcoming events, which I'm hiding behind me. And you can see over here, you can go and click event rules. You can read everything, but basically there's going to be, just like in season 1, a few of the dungeons that you have to do. There's going to be the 6 bosses, and then we're also going to have to do some summoning. I'm expecting somewhere to be around 40 summons, should be maybe just about fine. But when it comes to the bosses, we're going to use the Mrs. cheat sheet, okay? OddOneGaming made this one, and basically we're going to have as bosses Alton, that we're going to have to deal with cold. We're going to have Irzilas, we're going to have to use fire. Then we're going to have Talwar, where we're going to have to use lightning. Losenia, where we're going to have to use poison. Jord, where we use radiance. And then Shinakton as necrotic. So the fact that we have new bosses gets me excited because, well, it's going to be different. It's not going to be boring, okay? Otherwise, it would have been boring if we just had the same bosses as season 1. It wouldn't have spiced things up. So obviously, I'm expecting these bosses to be the same thing in the Otherworld exploration, in the last month. But still, having new ones is going to be different. So let's have a look at first. So let me just move this one to the side a little bit. And let's have a look at what we have to deal with. So first of all, let's look at the first boss. So the first boss is going to be Alton. I'm just going to quickly go through it because, well, I'm going to do some specific guides, I guess, on each of the teams that I'm going to have once that one's live, but still exciting to look at this. So Alton's basically all about rally, all about rally, all about rally. So, sorry, I have a feeling that what we're going to have to use against him is somebody that removes buffs or somebody that does buff prohibition. And when it comes to cold, well, there's a pretty obvious option, and that's going to be Voresh, okay? So straight up, Voresh is going to be the MVP of that fight from my point of view. He can put the buff prohibition, and then he can also remove buffs, which means, you can block him from getting rally or remove the rally if he does get it up. So Voresh is 100% going to be MVP. Then if we try to look at somebody from Radiant, I cannot think of anybody that puts buff prohibition or removes buffs. Let's just try and use this one, okay? So let's see. Debuff, buff block. There's nobody in Radiant. And then when we look over here, we have Voresh and Pargu. So obviously Voresh is going to be the MVP of that one. Now, if you look at the next boss, which is going to be Irzilas, he is Necrosis. I pulled him at the beginning of the season. He kind of looks like he does damage around him, plus he summons 2 skeletons. Then on the battle skill, he deals again a small area of AoE damage. For each ally undead summoned on the field, the skill damage is increased by 20%. So this makes me think you want to kill those summons. And then on the battle skill, 3 seconds after an ally's undead summoned unit dies, summons one skeleton that gradually loses HP. This was not going to take effect because it's only him that does summon. So I feel like because we have fire and he has 2 summons, they last for 10 seconds, but I feel like we're going to have to kill them. And when it comes to fire, I feel like the MVPs of this season are going to be burn ones, okay? So people like Karf, people like Asketius, the new exclusive. But then we also have Araches, we have Zrax, we have Lyle. So I feel like those are going to be better than actual wild people because wild are more single target focus. Maybe wild's going to work as well by using Tunnel On, by using Average, but I still believe that Bud is going to do better. Now, if we move over to the third one, we're going to have Talwar, which most of us know as one of the worst epics in the game. Worst legendaries in the game. He's basically an epic. But what he does is he brings lots of debuffs on the ultimate with that spore that can land accuracy penalty. Then if they are under poison, they also get attack penalty. So we could get attack penalty. But this is the most annoying part of him. He throws a mushroom that basically can taunt people in a huge area. And if it's the same principle as before, he will do this twice. So he will throw this mushroom twice that when it dies, it can do some damage and it provokes and it also does blind and poison once it explodes. So I feel like for this boss, we're going to have to bring debuff immunity in the team, okay? So we're going to have to bring debuff immunity or cleansing and try to focus mostly on range to deal with him. So just one melee tank basically, and then some other people. So when it comes to the lightning, if we have a look at who do we have for debuff block, there's nobody. But what's paired with lightning this season? Well, this season we have lightning with, let me see if I... poison. So who's going to bring that? It's Garion, but he only does it as single target. So I feel like instead of bringing debuff immunity, I feel like the MVPs are going to be cleansers, so such as Ogak or Vikuk. They are definitely going to be amazing. They can keep cleansing. He lands attack penalty, same as Ogak. So I feel like these are going to be the ones that you will want to focus on early. Plus, obviously, Segura is going to help with attack penalty, with, you know, healing reduction, but that's not going to help. Still, attack penalty and damage. So it's going to be a bit quirky, but I feel like we're going to be able to deal with it. Now, if we move over to the fourth boss, we're going to have Losenia. Okay, let's see. So what Losenia does, I know she has lots of AoE. So she does this tornado, it does lots of damage, it can land frost. On the battle skill, she marks an ally, which is not gonna happen. Every single second the ally deals cold damage. So I'm not sure how this one's gonna work. Maybe she's gonna have that on herself. So basically she could do more damage to melee units. So again, we're not gonna try to bring melee units. And then on the passive, basic attacks cast Ice Ball that bounce between enemies, okay? So again, this one, you're not going to want to have too many melee units. So it makes it tricky that it kind of denies us the melee units. But if we look at poisons, well, for poison, it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to have Fruit Bath. Just straight up, Fruit Bath is going to be the tank. He's going to bring healing to himself. He's going to bring attack penalty. And if you have another melee unit that's going to be a poison DPS, which somebody like an Ekis, he can keep her alive. But I feel like for this fight, we're just going to have Fruit Bath. And then everybody else is just going to be ranged, DPS. So again, the Eli's, the Dench, Gigel, Segrets, you know, even the rest. Then Epics, we do have the Theodore, we have Koren, Hola. So there's going to be some options to deal, especially because poison are the main damage dealers. It doesn't matter the supports. You can bring support of the same pairing, so you can bring lightning people like Yola. But at least for DPS, you want to have poison against Losenia because that's going to get more damage. Then if we move over to the next boss, the fire one is going to be Jord. He's the one that I don't know much about his kit, so let's go through him. So he takes 30% less damage from fire, which obviously he does fire damage on himself. We're going to see that. Additionally, when the hero takes fire damage, there's a 30% chance of recharging his ultimate energy and surrounding allies by 10% and granting defense up to the hero and surrounding allies by 5 seconds. It can only trigger once every 5 seconds. So basically, you're going to want to have something that removes the defense up so you can do some damage. On the battle skill, he does, like you see, a straight line damage. So I feel like this one, we're going to want to have people outside of it. So if you place people that do damage on those sides and just have the melee units, the tanks in there, you should be fine. Those ones will take damage and also they will get attack penalty. It's not going to matter because it's going to be your tank. And then ultimate, again, it has a pretty wide range that does, again, damage and reduces the ultimate energy of those ones with the chance to dispel all their buffs. So this one can be tricky. But if we think about it, we have Radiant for that fight. Well, Radiant is with Frost this time. So if we think about Radiant, we're going to need to have a pretty solid tank. So Sagomir can be a good tank. Garius can be amazing because he can heal. He's not going to have too many buffs to dispel. Plus, if you have the Gatekeeper staff like I have, he's going to bring massive shields to everybody. So he's going to be a good one. Then if you're desperate, you can even use Dane. That brings a little bit of survivability, but he's going to have his buffs dispelled. So I feel like you're not going to want too many buffs in this fight. So I feel like Garius is going to be your best option. And then when it comes to Radiant damage, it's going to have to be Rally. Because obviously Rally has the best damage. So my Filito is going to go boom again. Then Hedgehio can work, but the tricky thing is, again, Jord removes buffs. So if you have Rally on your people, they're going to be removed. So you're going to try to focus on the placement a lot, but again, we're going to talk once we get there. So I think it's going to be, again, it's going to be a show for the ranged Rally people such as like Kalis. Then we have people like Tathlin. Who else does Rally? Who else? We have Filto, Hubark. So I guess Rally is going to be the MVPs for that Radiant one. And then the last one is Shynacton, one of the new ones, which I actually pulled. So he specializes on Thunderbolt, which means he's going to be annoying. So using he on the passive, he uses lightning to strike up to 2 random enemies inflicted with electrocuted for 4 seconds, dealing lightning damage, and with a chance to inflict electrocuted again. This one can keep doing AoE damage. So I feel like for this one, just looking at the passive, we're going to want to have cleanse or debuff immunity. Then let's see on the battle skill, what does he do? Single target, so deals damage to up to 2 random enemies and has a 100% chance. I'm not sure if they're booked or not. That would be interesting to know. But he has a chance again to place electrocuted. And then this one's a wide area, so this one's going to be tricky, which means everybody's going to get hit. So grants attack up to all Thunderbolt allies, obviously himself only, then deals damage to them with a chance to inflict electrocuted. So I have a feeling like Shynacton is going to be the most difficult one because it's against Necrosis and against Fire, because that's the pairing. So when we think about necrotic damage dealers, it's usually summons, but they're not the best. Like, one that I can think of that could be interesting could be Thea, okay? As long as you bring rage units, she can bring debuff immunity, so that means you're going to be able to just basically have debuff immunity against the electrocuted, so you don't get that one that lands on you, but it only works against the ranged ones. And so basically who's going to be? It's going to be her, Zadok, Zarlos, maybe Joyce. Then for healers, you could have somebody like a Megan, because when it comes to cleansers, I can't think, oh yeah, the cleanser could be, this could be interesting, the cleanser could be Fitz. He could be the one that cleanses and is a tank. Build him with resist, make him tank. He's gonna always cleanse that one when you have to, but the problem is the boss does it on the battle skill twice, so that might be tricky. However, because he's just 2 random enemies, it might just be Fitz and somebody else, so you might only want the cleanse once this happens. So I feel like that one's not gonna be too bad. I feel like this one's not going to be too bad for the Shynacton, actually. I feel like, again, it's going to be a showcase for Fitz, and then for DPS, again for Necrosis, it usually depends who do you have, who do you have? Maybe it's going to be a show again for Agi, Questa, and Ripikas, so you just keep pushing his ultimate energy back, he never gets stunned, that means you never get electrocuted, bring him again for healing, and yeah, I feel like this fight is going to be the same as the Felindor fight. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at this for today. I just wanted to give you, the news, to give you some ideas of what heroes you should start focusing on so you can prepare for this new, what's it called again? The Lunar, I forgot, I'm old, I'm starting to forget. The Lunar Halo Radiance event. That's gonna start in 9 days if you start at the same time as me or later. But again, it gives you ideas of what you might want to focus on for some epics, res, or maybe even legendaries if you have them, so that you can do the best for this one, because, well, Ardreth is a legendary that you do not want to skip. But we're gonna leave it at this for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful or informative or fun, please consider liking it, subscribing to the channel to see when I post next, and I guess I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.